Now onto the line, the forward line that everyone is talking about. And the reason everyone is talking about the forward line is because naturally, where we think we're short out of everywhere in the squad, the priority, and also Arne Slot's comments that Paul Joyce dropped last night, just in case you missed them. He was clearly asked in the embargo, if he felt short of attacking depth, and this is what he said. It depends on how you want to look at it. If you add to Florian Wirtz as an attacking option, then you can make it 5. So yeah, we sold Darwin and we've bought in Hugo. Lucho has gone, and you can maybe see Florian as a replacement for that. And yes, we all know what happened to Diogo. If you look at it like this, maybe we haven't got enough, but Jeremy Frimpong, when he is fit, is definitely an option to play as a winger as well. So then we end up at 6 forwards. And Paul Joyce actually writes, it was clear it happened in the embargo, that it was pushed further to clarify the options. And these were Arne Slot's words. I think I've said it already. We have 6 players who can play in 3 positions. That's the answer. Yeah, I'm happy. So let's map that out. We'll drag Federico Chiesa in. We'll drag Wirtz in. And we're dragging, all of a sudden, Jeremy Frimpong from right back behind Mo Salah. So in that answer, Arne Slot is naming Wirtz, Gakpo, Ekitike, Chiesa, Salah and Frimpong as the 6 options that could be enough. Yeah, probably a bit like me, you're not buying it either. Or, at absolute best case scenario, you get a trifle load of luck. And I know some people are starting to say, well, it could be January for Isak. I don't think that, you're already there on a prayer, basically. Tony Steele saying there in the chat panel, we let Diaz go and didn't bring in a replacement. Kind of mad. I mean, nothing will be more pointed this summer, obviously, than the tragedy of what happened. We had 3 attackers that left. And when you look at it, just to be factual for a second on this, ladies and gents, Núñez, 2,038 minutes last season. Luis Diaz, 3,336. Diogo Jota played 1,832. So before you even get started, that's 7,206 minutes that went out the door. That's huge. Now, it's important, as Bart said with this, the way the game's changed in certain aspects, that the game goes longer. And people say, well, why are you talking about that? Because of the minutes needed. I think Bart wants to be quite clear on this when we were sort of running these numbers. Each game is obviously about 100 minutes now. And the target is to play 60 games a season, isn't it? So it's 6,000 minutes per position. So 18,000 across that front line, the 3 positions as a unit. And he was keen to reiterate that. And also you have to remember, last season, we only got to the round of 16, didn't we? With the first good knockout round, so I should say, in the Champions League before we went out to PSG. So we should have had, ideally, another 7 or so games there. Crazy, eh? But, yeah, just some facts on that. So those 3, we lost 7,206 minutes. We didn't bring Hugo Ekitike, who looks a hell of a player so far, doesn't he? Shone in the Community Shield, brilliant in the opener, man of the match against Bournemouth. And that is a big positive. 3,644 minutes he had in all competitions for Frankfurt. So there genuinely is serious minutes coming in. That is absolutely brilliant. It seems like right now, Federico Chiesa is the backup 9 or the person who would, be first. You could argue the difference on this, but he came on and played there, didn't he? Chiesa last season, 466 minutes. Nothing. Practically half endo. Yeah. And I mean, some people are putting there, Chiesa won't stay fit straight away, and you do look at his injury record, which is sketchy at best as we start to dig. If you think back to his last season at Juventus, when, he played a good number of minutes, that was 2,512 the season before. So naturally, you are thinking, and this will be popular in many, because it's the big turnaround of the summer. He seemed, odds on, Thanos inevitability to leave. But you would expect Chiesa to make a big increase from his 466 minutes. So that's some way you're getting the back, the loss there already. Bert's already said he was honest about, Slot's told me about the number 10, but Slot has mentioned you could cover in there. But covering in there on occasions is completely different to what we had last season. Completely different. The big strength last season was the Diaz-Gakpo alternate on the left-hand side. You put your hands together and you got a Mane, when you added those two up, didn't you? And remember I said Diaz was 3,336 minutes last campaign. Anyone clock Gakpo's minutes? Because he had a few injuries, did Cody? 2,696 minutes. Yeah? So you're going to ask him to... Well, you're asking to play more. Let's be completely clear on this. But if you look at his injury record last season, question marks there. Straight away. Mo, Superman, you're going to have to ask you to put on your cape again, of course, aren't you? And do the business for us. Completely the same. And as if you were chatting, you're all of a sudden expecting all those players to play maximum minutes and stay fit. You will look, and as few have put in now, the midfield didn't really get injuries at all, so you're asking for that straight away as well. And also, well, if Frimpong is the sixth option, he's injured. And, Conor Bradley's record is a bit sketchy there as well. Big questions you've got all of a sudden, haven't you? Now, we all know we want to come in and give us that squad depth. Well, I'll say squad depth, of course, give me a British record transfer fee. If it happens, we all know we want. Isak's minutes last season, because everyone said he completely injury prone, 3,324. Did have a few injuries. But actually, we want him in, of course, but when you add the minutes there and just spell it out in logical fashion, you need him. Because 7,206 minutes is no longer with Liverpool. Yeah? I want to be careful with dragging, Rio and Gamoa onto the pitch. We also saw in that Paul Joyce article that, as he mentioned, Liverpool were not went to buy any names yet, Barcola and Malik Fofana, because they want to give Rio and Gamoa a pathway to the first team. And the kid has looked special. He looks such a talent, doesn't he, in pre-season. However, he is 16 years old, and let's just be clear, he didn't play a single minute in the Community Shield, a friendly, when he could have. I don't think he was in the squad, was he? For Bournemouth. Travelled with the party tonight, but how many minutes, seriously, do you think Rio and Gamoa will get this season? Even if this pathway bit is, it doesn't look like there's another forward on top of Isak. Paul Joyce and in other comments allude to it, does feel like Isak or bust a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. See, I actually thought, we could somewhere at the top end, and at the top end, you won't want Rio and Gamoa to go anything above 1,000. And even that, I'm saying, is the top end. People will probably have less in mind, like 750, something like that. But in terms of senior forwards right now, and I've got to take them off the pitch, Liverpool have 4 senior forwards right now because I'm putting Florian Wirtz as a 10. Chiesa, Gakpo, Ekitike and Salah. Ekitike and Salah had good records in terms of minutes last season, as we said. But Chiesa played, just in case you missed it, 4-6-6. Yeah? Gakpo played 2-6-9-6. And part of the big thing about his strength was the alternate with Lucho Diaz. That forward line to me, as I said, at best, if you think back to last season, we had 6 senior forwards. 6 senior forwards. Yeah, with Chiesa playing a few minutes here and there, just part because of Poach was being insane. Yeah? Now, as it stands, we're at 4 senior forwards. You're asking Wirtz to possibly cover on the left. Again, you know, one injury and the whole thing just topples down a little bit, doesn't it? Rio and Gamoa, what seriously can you ask of that kid? Honestly, when you stack it all up, we've gone from 6 senior forwards, as it stands right now, to 4.5. And this was trying to do it all logically. I can see as the chat panel, people saying Jayden Danns is an option. People, if Jayden Danns needs to play serious minutes for us, when we want to be chasing, apparently, a title, Champions League, that's not being derogatory of the player. That's a real issue that way. So that comes into the mix. For me, I think when you spell out the minutes and the players you want to come in, Alexander Isak or bust, it really is a risk reward. If he comes in, if Alexander Isak comes in and is the 5th senior forward, I can handle that quite easily. You think that, we'll see again if we need it, but I think I can do that quite easily. If he doesn't come in, dear God, we're on a bit of a wing and a prayer, and we will need a few prayers on the wing at the same time. Mark Guéhi, I do think with the injury records, the potential concerns already against Bradley, Frimpong now, it might just be a one-off, for full transparency. Canate historically, Joe Gomez's injury record. Isak feels a must. Gay feels very good to do, but probably not a million miles off that. People, there's literally a week left of the transfer window. This is not panic stations, as people will say. This was just an honest minute, an honest, logical assessment that me and Bars wanted to do of the minutes that have left, the minutes that have come in, where you may be short. And ultimately, even just the numbers, as we said, we had 6 senior centre forwards last season. We've now got 4, a player that can play up there, others, that can at a push. We will stay. It does feel that as the window evolved, we felt so strong about when Wirtz, Kirkes, Ekitike, brilliant signings. This last week feels pivotal, doesn't it? Yeah? And you do think in that forward line, there needs to be at least, obviously, one body come through the door. We expect it to be Isak, but it could just be Isak or bust, as I suggested. We will have to see. There you go. Share your thoughts, comments, obviously when it's published. Great to see the reactions in the chat panel. Different people had different thoughts, but me and Bart's wanted to spell it all out logically with the minutes, with the statistics there. You can make your own calls on that. As we said, Arne Slot, I said what he said yesterday. Florian Wirtz said he was bought to play as a 10. Not my word. If there's no bodies in before the end of the window in a week's time, Monday the 1st of September, 7 p.m, you will probably have some words yourself. Well, there we go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. That was a Transfer Market Metrics special at Anfield Index.